I want to write about faith, about the way the moon rises over cold snow night after night, faithful even in its fading from fullness, slowly becoming that last curving and impossible slither of light before the final darkness. But I have no faith myself. I do not give it the smallest entry. Let this then, my small form, like a new moon, slender and barely open, be the first prayer that opens me to faith. What would that life be like where you had equal faith in the part of you that was fading away as the part of you that was growing, the part of you that was dying, the part of you that was failing, the part of you that was saying the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time in your career? That there's some, as Wordsworth put it, some dark, invisible workmanship beneath it all. Wordsworth said there is a dark, invisible workmanship that reconciles discordant elements and makes them move in one society. Isn't that marvelous? There is a dark, invisible workmanship that reconciles discordant elements and makes them move in one society. Wordsworth's faith in this underground river of life that somehow unifies all things, and a human being is simply not wise enough and is not supposed to be wise enough to be able to see how the land lies all the time. We're supposed to make our mistakes through life. Thomas Edison, great American inventor, a person who brought the technological together with the artistic side of life. He was an amazing artist at the same time. He was a tremendous inventor, and he was trying to find the filament for the light bulb, and they were working thousands of hours to try and get the exact material that would not burn out, that would make the filament in this light bulb, this thing we take so much for granted. And they did 1,000 experiments, and the foreman of his work team was just exhausted. And finally he came to Edison. He said, listen, he said, we've wasted our time. 1,000 experiments, he says, waste of time. And Edison said, nonsense, we know 1,000 ways in which it doesn't work. Now, when we get to our deathbeds, probably the only thing we can say, with some degree of accuracy is that, when your grandson comes up and says, what was it all about? You say, I know 1,000 ways in which it doesn't work. How do you do that? And have triumph in your voice as you say it. 1,000 is probably conservative by that time. We're up in the 1,500s at least. I know 1,500 ways in which it doesn't work. If you look at the poetic tradition, the way that men and women have spoken about walking into this side of themselves, the image is usually things like walking into a dark wood. Dante, he began the Commedia, one of the greatest epics of Western literature. He said, Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita mi ritrovai per una scura selva. In the middle of the road of my life, I awoke in a dark wood. Sometime in the middle of your life, you stop trying to be nice all the time. And you stop trying to smile and pour tea for everyone. And you face up to this other fading side of you. Usually what happens when you face up to the fading side of you, all things being equal, it's an equal celebration, but usually this side of us is being crushed and compressed for so long that the first experience you get when you go in is one of grief. For all the years you didn't walk in there before, because your innocence was in there too. So you got one little part of you that closed down 10 years ago. When you walk into that part of you, there's going to be a lot of rusty locks on the door. And 10 years of frozen immobility. A lot of grief. The person who is locked in there is also probably quite angry. You have to sit down with them. They're also in some ways ill. That part of you is ill, is sick. It needs nursing. All these things all at once.